Okay, so today we're going to do angle of elevation and angle of depression. Just real quick, just remember that angle of elevation, you start with a horizontal line, and think of it like when you elevate something, you lift something up. So your angle of elevation would be right there. That's your angle of elevation. Also recall that when we talk about angle of depression, it is an alternate interior angle to the angle of elevation. So your angle of depression would be right here. And there you can see your angles or alternate interior angles, and that they are congruent. So whenever we're doing any kind of a word problem and it involves angle of elevation or angle of depression, usually it involves a right triangle, and my suggestion is always put that angle of elevation or your angle of depression right here, and that will help you be able to solve whatever it is that they're asking for within this triangle. Okay? All right, so let's look at this question right here. A man at one point on the street finds that the angle of elevation to the top of a tower is 29 degrees, 50 minutes. So let's say the man is here. Let's say the tower is down here. Okay, here's our tower. And so they have an angle of elevation to the top of that tower. Let's make this tower a little bit bigger. Okay, and that would be right here, 29 degrees, 50 minutes. Then what he does is he walks toward the tower, so he's walking horizontally, and he's walking toward the tower a distance of 200 feet. And then he finds at the second point the angle of elevation, so here we go again, angle of elevation, 65 degrees, 20 minutes. And what is the height of the tower? So we're looking for that. Now we can assume this is not the Leaning Tower of Pisa, so we've got a right angle there. So you have two triangles side by side. And if you recall, what we did last week was we actually tried to do law of sines twice, but we're not able to solve for x right away. So what we're going to do is actually solve for y, which is the side that the two triangles share. So we're going to use this triangle here on the left that I'm outlining in blue. We're going to solve for y, and then we are going to use that y and then solve for x on the triangle on the right. Now what you're going to need to do, though, is you're going to need to find all of the angles in both of those triangles. So you just need to remember that this angle here, 65 degrees, 20 minutes, is supplementary to this angle here. So you're going to do 180 minus 65 degrees, 20 minutes. Now remember, in order to do that you need to use your second apps button in your calculator. So you're going to do 180 minus 65, then hit your second apps button. You'll see the degree symbol there at number 1. Hit that, and then type in 20, hit your second apps again. Go down to the minutes button, which is number 2. Hit enter, and then you'll get a decimal equivalent. Okay, 114 point something or other. Now hit second apps one more time, and if you see down at number 4, it says DMS, and that will help you convert it. Okay, so then this ends up being 114 degrees, 40 minutes. Now I would proceed and I would try to find all the other angles in that triangle so it can help you solve. Right, so here we go. So here's our triangle again, and after solving, this is 35 degrees, 30 minutes, and this one up here is 24 degrees, 40 minutes rather, sorry. Okay, so we're going to do law of sines with the triangle on the left. So I'm going to do y over the sine of 29 degrees, 50 minutes. I'm going to set that equal to 200 over the sine of 35 degrees, 30 minutes. Okay, so then I'm going to cross multiply. So I have 200 times the sine of 29 degrees, 50 minutes, and I'm going to set that equal to y times the sine of 35 degrees, 30 minutes. Now to get y by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of 35 degrees, 30 minutes. Okay, and then you're going to throw that into your calculator, and you are going to get a decimal equivalent. And then again, actually I shouldn't say again, so that's going to end up being 171.3367. Now this does keep going. Please keep that in your calculator. We're not rounding this because this is not the final answer. Remember, we never round until we get to the end, in which case, in this case rather, we're going to be solving for x. Okay, so 171.3367 is what y is. Now, so we have that y is equal to 171.3367. Now we're going to solve for x. So we're going to set up another proportion using law of sines again. So in this case, we're going to do x times the sine of 65 degrees, 20 minutes. And we're going to set that equal to our y value, which is 171.3367 over the sine of 90. Now, if you remember what the sine of 90 is, that's 1. So when I cross multiply in this direction, really I just end up with x, because sine of 90 is 1. So I have x equals that sine of 65 degrees, 20 minutes, and I'm going to multiply that by my y value, which should still be in your calculator, as 171.3367, blah, blah, blah. Throw that in there, and you will end up with 155.7024. And they ask you to round that to the nearest foot, so your answer is 156 feet. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. So good luck with the worksheet.